Hey, God bless everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's being safe. Hope everybody is healthy. Understanding that the times we're still living in, it isn't easy, but I just hope everybody's doing well. So it's the fourth day. We made it. Number 4. We're going to speak about the fourth word said by Jesus on the cross. And this is found in the book of Mark, chapter 15, verse 34, where it says, "And at 3 p.m, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, 'Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani,' which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And man, this word that we see by Jesus, it's a word of pure pain. Just imagining the scenery. The thieves are on the cross. Jesus is at the cross. You see Mary, his mother, at the foot of the cross with John the disciples and the other woman. The soldiers watching. It's quiet. You just hear crying, the moaning of pain. And then all of a sudden, the Son of God begins to scream out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" You see, this is a word where we see him at his deepest, at his lowest point when he's on the cross. We see him in his complete humanness, understanding that he was 100% God, but he was also 100% man. You see, he's dripping in blood. He's feeling the pain of all the open wounds that he has on his body. We first need to understand what happened when Jesus went on the cross. You see, Jesus went on the cross to die for our sins. So when Jesus was on the cross, all of our sins were on him. You see, he took the world's sin on his shoulders. He felt every pain. He felt every transgression, every sin that the world will commit. It was currently on him. He felt the pain of each sin that me, thousands of years later, and those within those moments were going to commit against him. You see, the one who hung on the cross, he wasn't just an ordinary man, but he was the Son of God. He was the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And on that time that Jesus spent on the earth, we have to understand that he and the Father were always one. Their spirit was always connected. The Spirit of Jesus were connected with the Spirit of God because God lived in him. Amen. But now we see that in this moment of the cross, that Jesus finds himself in a moment where his humanness is being exposed. We're in a moment where all he wants and all he needs is God himself. In a moment where the pain on his humanness became too much for him to handle, too much for him to hold on to. You see, Jesus, while he was on the earth, and because his spirit was connected with the Father, Jesus always felt the love of God. He felt the peace of God. You see, the Father was always there for him to console him, to help him, to speak to him, to give him strength. But in this very moment, the Father couldn't be with him. The sin was too much. You see, imagine a parent. I'm not a parent, but imagine a parent, whoever's watching that is a parent, seeing their child in pain, screaming, saying, "Help, help." And yet there's nothing that you can do because it had to come to pass. God couldn't look at Jesus because, one, the will of the Father was for him to die so that the world could be saved, as well as all the sin that Jesus had upon him. The Father just couldn't look at it. He couldn't bear to see it, But once again, we see Jesus that in these words, his actions demonstrate that all that was done was because he loved us. He screamed, my God, but he screamed it understanding that he still had to go through what he was going through because it was the will of the Father, because he loved us, because he loved humanity, and he wanted humanity to be saved. You see, Jesus was willing to be abandoned by the Father so that we wouldn't have to be abandoned by the Father. You see, many of us within our daily lives, we have been forsaken. We've been forsaken by our friends, by our own family, by our jobs, but we would never, ever, and I say never, ever, be forsaken by God the Father. You see, in the moments when we feel alone and we feel forsaken, the moments in our life that we feel forgotten by everybody else around us, Jesus understands that pain, and he understands the feeling to feel abandoned, and he reminds us that we are never truly alone, that the Father is always with us, that when we call, he answers. We are never alone, and Jesus made sure of it. Jesus didn't want us to go through the pain that he went through. He didn't want us to feel the forsakenness that he felt. That's why the Father had to turn his face from the Son, to make sure that he would never have to turn his face from ours. I hope you guys are blessed. I hope this word blesses you, and I hope we all understand and comprehend that God will never leave us nor abandon us, because Jesus took the abandonment. Jesus made sure he could be alone so that we can never be alone. God bless you all.